Let me tell you, sometimes it feels like the universe lines up a perfect storm just to see what you're made of. And in my case, it really was a storm. A Colorado blizzard so thick you could barely see your own headlights, much less a way out. But what I didn't know that night, plowing snow-tired cold, just grinding out another shift, was that the worst thing barreling my way wasn't the snow or even some careless driver. No, it was the HOA president in a white Lexus hell-bent on turning a fender bender into a personal crusade that nearly wrecked my business, my sanity, and for a minute there, my faith in justice. See, my name's Ryan Kellerman. I run a snow removal business out of Fort Collins, Colorado. 30 commercial contracts, 2 residential HO. Has a stack of bills and a Ford F-35. Oh, that I treat better than my own body. I know the drill. Snow comes down. I gear up, keep the streets clear so folks can get to work, get their kids to school, keep life moving even when Mother Nature tries to shut us down. Meadowbrook Hills, that's one of my big accounts. Fancy houses, winding streets, and an HOA board pickier than my grandma at a yard sale down to the shade of beige you can paint your siding. But they pay, and usually it's smooth sailing. Until that one night, the blizzard night, when honestly everything changed. I was halfway through my route just trying to make a dent in the mess when I saw headlights weaving down Oakmont Circle. Too fast for the snow, that's for sure. My gut said, "Move over, Ryan," so I eased my truck as far right as I could, blade down amber lights flashing like a Christmas tree. Sure enough, the Lexus comes sliding, fishtailing, and I'm watching like it's slow motion as she slams right into the front corner of my plow. There's this split second where time stops, then crunch. Fiberglass and steel meeting in a symphony of expensive regret. The driver's door flies open. Out storms Brenda Carmichael, Meadowbrook Hills HOA president, mad as a hornet and dressed in athleisure that probably cost more than my mortgage. She's hollering, "What the hell were you doing?" accusing me of blocking the road, blaming me for everything short of inventing snow itself. I keep my voice calm. My dad always said, "Don't wrestle pigs, son. You both get dirty and the pig likes it, but Brenda's not having it." She calls the cops, insists it's my fault, demands I pay for her wrecked Lexus. While she's on the phone, I'm taking pictures, every angle, every tire track, everything. My truck's fine. Her Lexus is a mess. I figure, hey, the police will sort this out. Turns out sorting it out is about as easy as plowing wet cement. The officer, a young guy named Martinez, shows up about an hour later. He does his job right, measures photographs, listens to both sides. And what do you know? The facts are clear. I was on the right side of the road, warning lights on, just doing my job. Brenda was driving too fast for conditions, lost control, hit me. He writes her a ticket for unsafe speed, tells us to exchange insurance info, and says the report will back me up. Brenda's livid. "Do you know who I am?" she demands. Officer Martinez just nods and hands her the citation. She's spitting mad swears she'll make sure I pay one way or another. That's when things really go sideways. Next morning, my insurance agent calls. Brenda's already filed a claim, swearing I negligently blocked the street. Then I get an email the HOA's calling an emergency board meeting to discuss my conduct. I spend 3 days sick to my stomach collecting every bit of proof I have. At the meeting, Brenda hobbles in wearing a wrist brace that sure wasn't there the night of the accident and spins her tale of woe to the whole room, how I created a hazard, how she's suffering pain, how her $8,000 Lexus repair is all my fault. I stand up, hand out copies of the police report, show photos, explain what happened. And here's where the twist comes in. Daniel, the treasurer, and Susan, the secretary, actually listen. They see the evidence for what it is. Patricia, another board member, says she's not comfortable firing me over a single accident, especially when it's clear I did nothing wrong. Brenda, red-faced, demands I pay her $1,000 deductible or lose my contract. I call it extortion right there in front of everyone. The meeting erupts. Brenda storms out, vowing to take me to court. She wasn't bluffing. Weeks later, I get the lawsuit in the mail. Brenda's suing me for the deductible, her medical bills, and pain and suffering. My insurance company assigns me a lawyer, Thomas, who's sharp as a tack. We review the evidence, subpoena her medical records. Turns out she didn't see a doctor for her wrist until 5 days after the crash and prep for court. But Brenda isn't done. She files bogus police reports accusing me of trespassing, damaging landscaping, working off hours. I spend hours talking to city inspectors, defending myself against each one. She even calls my other clients, writes fake negative reviews online, complains to the BBB and the Secretary of State about my business license. Each time I prove the truth. Each time I document everything. But it wears you down, makes you second guess why you ever took this contract in the first place. Finally, we end up in small claims court. Brenda shows up in a power suit, still rocking that wrist brace. She lays out her whole story. Photos, bills, the works. My lawyer calmly lays out the truth: police report photos, expert statement from the officer. Even medical records showing her injury didn't line up with the accident. The judge, thank God, sees through the drama. She asked Brenda why she didn't contest the speeding ticket if she truly thought it was my fault. Brenda stammers, "That was just for speeding. The judge isn't buying it. She rules in my favor, case dismissed." Brenda blows up, threatens more legal action, promises I'll never work in Fort Collins again. My lawyer just says, keep documenting. If she keeps it up, we'll get a restraining order. Sure enough, Brenda doubles down, more fake reviews, more calls to clients, even a formal complaint to the Secretary of State. That's when I've had enough. We send a cease and desist letter, lay out every bogus complaint, and threaten legal action. And then finally, karma lands hard. The HOA board finds out Brenda's been using HOA funds to pay a private investigator to dig up dirt on me. That's a misuse of community money, and it's the last straw. They remove her as president. Daniel calls to tell me, says they might even press charges for fraud. Soon after, the police charge Brenda with filing false reports. She pleads no contest, pays a fine, gets probation, and has to repay the HOA the money she spent chasing her vendetta. By spring, it's over. Brenda's gone, moved to Colorado Springs. The new HOA president. Patricia is a breath of fresh air, fair, reasonable, grateful for my work. The board even gives me a bonus check for sticking it out. My business survives, my reputation rebounds, and I take on more contracts than ever. The worst winter of my life becomes the best lesson I've ever learned about standing up for myself, about not letting bullies or bureaucrats push me around just because they have a title or a loud voice. You know, there's this thing about power. It's supposed to serve the community, not the other way around. And when people use it to settle personal grudges, to twist the truth, or to scare folks into submission, that's when you've got to dig in your heels. The real lesson for me, if you back down to bullies, you just give them permission to do it to the next guy. But if you keep your record straight, trust the process, and refuse to fold, sometimes, just sometimes, karma shows up with a snowplow. The next winter, business is booming. Marcus, a college kid I hired, is learning the ropes. I keep plowing, keep showing up, keep doing good work. Meadowbrook Hills is still on my route, and now when I drive down Oakmont Circle, folks wave instead of glare. The streets are quiet, peaceful, exactly how they should be. I still think about that night sometimes, Brenda's Lexus sliding, her face twisted with fury, demanding I pay what I didn't owe. And I'm glad I didn't give in. Would have been easier in the short run, sure. But standing up for myself changed everything. It made me better at my job, made me tougher, made me proud of the work I do and the way I do it. So here's my question for you. Where's the line between standing your ground and keeping the peace? Should folks be able to use their power to punish people over petty grudges? Or does there come a time when you've just got to say enough, even if it means a fight? I'd love to hear your take. Drop your story in the comments. Tell me if you've ever had to stare down a bully or had to fight for what was right, even when it would have been easier to walk away. Do you think justice really works? Or is it just luck and paperwork? Either way, I hope you never have to find out the hard way. But if you do, I hope you stand your ground and trust the snow will melt eventually.